my blood stuff, and I get a migraine headache. I get migraine headaches. And she said the other Costco worker standing behind her started screaming, "Are you kidding me? Is that why I'm getting my damn migraines?" Because she's forced to wear a mask all day long. So
I guess that's funny.
there's a lot of, yeah. I mean,
I know, we've been to Sam. We go to Sam's. We don't go to Costco anymore because we had a bad experience with them. But Sam's doesn't require you to wear a mask. You can wear one if you want, but they don't make you wear a mask to go in. It's like Fry's. Fry's doesn't make you one either up here.
well, they've got a sign on it. We went up to Fry's the other day, and the only redeeming factor for me to go to Fry's is they weren't making you wear masks. We get up there, and they got a sign up there telling you had to wear a mask.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it makes them. It must make them feel more comfortable with what the county's trying to tell them. But I think Tom Murphy's right about the whole thing. So you and I have talked about that, and I think you believe the same thing. So this whole mask thing is just it's just getting almost comical. But there's people that really believe that it's going to save their life. So I see people wearing masks driving around in their cars, and
Oh, I know.
that one I can't figure out. I don't know what they think they're going to catch in their car, or
No, mine comes off the minute I'm out of any store that makes you wear it.
Yeah, yeah. We wore one in Sprouts today, and as soon as we came out, we took them off. So anyway, it's an interesting time. We've got to find a way to get. So how do you feel, Randy? Since I've got you on, and I don't know if you got to watch the president the other day about opening the schools, and what are you hearing in this area about the Sahuarita and the Continental schools opening? Is Kathy Hoffman getting to them and convincing them to keep them closed? Is the governor going to close them, or have you heard anything?
The governor had a press conference this afternoon,
Okay.
and the question was asked, and the question after the press conference was asked by the media, somebody in the media about the schools, and it was more in line with the president's statement that he could withhold funding from schools that don't open. And you got to keep it. I mean, this was a question that came up back when I was in the legislature 20 years ago, back in 2004, I think it was, when George Bush was doing his No Child Left Behind.
Right.
And it was all about federal, more funding for schools. And we had a pretty heated debate in the state house up there about, well, the federal government they provide about 10% of the funding to your local school districts, but about 40% of the regulations come from the feds. So is it worth it for the 10% of your funding to have all these additional regulations?
Right.
No. I mean, if you were a business and it was a dollar and cents thing, you'd say, no, I'll give up the 10% and all those regulations, and it'd be most likely well worth it in the long run. And we were debating about not accepting and not participating in the No Child Left Behind. And I was the majority whip at the time, and I got a call from the U.S. Department of Education, and we need to come and meet with you. And so a gal flew down from San Francisco, came into my office. I had our majority leader, Eddie Farnsworth, with me, and one of our state senators, Thayer Verschure, in the office with me. So she walks in with two Arizona Department of Education staffers. So there's 6 of us in my office. And she's going, I understand that you're having a debate and they're talking about not accepting the funding. She goes, that would be a mistake. We're gonna be able to send you about $400 million to implement this No Child Left Behind. And Eddie, I had a copy of my small little copy of the Constitution on my credenza. He reaches over and picks that up and hands it to her and says, can you show me in this document your job description? And she's like, oh, I don't understand. Just go to the page in there where it talks about the U.S. Department of Education. Well, it's not in here. He goes, precisely. And after about 5 minutes, Eddie says, and then I asked the question, I said, for you to give us $400 million, how much are you taking out of the state of Arizona? I mean, you're taking taxes from our taxpayers to turn around and hand it back. We know that our transportation dollars that go to Washington, D.C., we get back 84 cents on the dollar. So we send you $1, we get back 84 cents. And then you tell us where we have to spend that 84 cents. Wouldn't we be better off just keeping the dollar and taking care of it ourselves? So how much are we sending you to get back the 400 million with all these rules and regulations? She goes, well, I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, she just sounded dumbfounded by the question. And at that point, Eddie and Thayer get up and walked out of my office. Now I'm standing there staring at her, and I looked at her, and after a few seconds, I said, the only reason I'm still here is it's my office. And so as far as I'm concerned, and this meeting's over, so I'm sure she was back on a plane within 30 minutes and heading back to San Francisco. Now, ultimately, we came up a vote or two shy of opting out of No Child Left Behind. Came close.
Yeah.
We gave it a shot. But so the question was, and Ducey's answer was, we're making decisions based on, not based on politics. And I got a personal relationship with the president. I know him. I get him. He's on my speed dial, and when I get phone calls, I've got the song now playing, Hail to the Chief or whatever, so I don't miss his phone calls. But he goes, he's not having any influence over when I'm going to say it's okay for us to reopen the schools and get back to work. He goes, to me, there's two things in consideration: lives and livelihood, and I'm going to choose lives every time. So when it's safe, we'll get back open again. And in the meantime, I want everybody to stay home as much as possible. So it's just going to be a continuation of the thing we're here now, with no commitment on when the schools are going to open. And the other issue then are the teachers and the teachers unions. Are they ready to come back to work? You got enough of them that are, more in the 50, 55, 60 age bracket that are afraid to come back to work for fear that they're going to catch it.
Right.
So that's the other side of the battle. It's going to make it tough on the schools. If they don't have teachers that are willing to come back and help, what do? Fire them?
Yeah. Well.
So there's a whole lot more going on there than just simply saying, okay, it's time to reopen. It's safe, and let's go back and reopen. It's safe, maybe safe in your mind and my mind, but if you get a few of them that say, I'm not comfortable, I don't think it's safe, and it's esoteric in there, it's not.
Yeah. Well, you got so many people working on them, particularly the mainstream media, trying to scare the heck out of everybody. And I guess the question comes down to what is safe, right? What is the guidelines? All the guidelines. We were supposed to flatten the curve, and then it was going to be safe. But
you get people that jump out of airplanes.
Right.
They think it's perfectly safe. You got other people look at them and think they're nuts.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
People that scale the mountains and scale those rock walls and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Okay. So to them, the idea of safe is a whole lot different than.
Yeah, you're right. So well, I guess I wonder if what do you think? What do you think about a special session? Do you think Ducey's going to pull the plug, or he's going to?
If the press that was the question that was on my mind. He's not going to call a special session. He's afraid to call a special session for anything. They had a whole lot of unfinished business.
Yeah.
That they were talking about special sessions all summer long.
Right.
But I think he's afraid to call one now because this whole issue of this emergency. State of emergency will come up. I know Kelly Townsend's talking about that again. It was the issue we brought up as a chamber,
back
the end of April, said, when does the legislature have a say in this? And at this stage, if they come back into a special session, now I think they need a supermajority to pass a concurrent resolution.
2/3, right?
I don't know if it's.
I thought she tweeted today. I saw Kelly Townsend tweet today about she had a petition.
I think it is
the legislature now going for 2/3.
I think it is 2/3. I think it's 2/3 to call themselves into special session.
Right. Yeah.
And then once they get in there, I'm not sure if it's just a simple majority on passing a concurrent resolution. I'm thinking it is, but to get 2/3 of those folks up there to agree on,
Is that
I
House?
mean, I mean, you never know. I mean, the
Right.
Democrats would probably jump on board just
Yeah.
to try to embarrass the governor
Yeah.
and take a swipe at the governor.
Yeah.
But one of the questions from one of the reporters today was to Ducey, saying you've got the lowest approval rating of any governor in the country, and it's just slightly better than that of Donald Trump. So what do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. Trump's is pretty good right now. I know
So
what they're reading the tea leaves, but I don't know what Ducey's approval rating is. He's I don't know. I think he would. I think he should call a special session because I think they need to. Number one, they need to work on the liability issue for everybody, for the businesses, and HOAs, and everybody else. You know.
yeah,
Because that's what they're all afraid of. They're all afraid of the attorneys, what they're going to do if somebody gets sick coming into their business. Now, how they'd ever prove that, I don't have a clue. But and then the second thing is, Dave Gowan told us that there's $700 billion in the hole now in on the budget.
how much?
700 billion. I'm sorry, $700 million in the hole on the budget. 700 million after we had $1 billion rainy day fund. So I mean, he's been throwing money left and right. Ducey has trying to make everybody happy, and so I just think they really need to do that. And I know Michelle Ugente Rita, she definitely wants a special session. She's frustrated. I don't know what.
Yeah, Kelly, Michelle, there'd be a number of them, but
Yeah, I don't
I
know
said
what.
if there were enough, and this is one of those strange things where if all the Democrats would get on board and say, hey, this looks like a chance that we could embarrass the governor.
Yep.
And then you got enough conservatives that are fed up with this whole thing. Could they get to that number? It's possible. I mean, we had that happen to us back when I was back up there in the day, in the other direction, on the budget. But
Yeah,
anything could happen.
I think it would be possible. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's probably some Dems that would love to embarrass Ducey, and
If they thought it would embarrass them enough.
yeah. But right now it's Ducey and his lawyers. I think and whatever doctors he's listening to, he's not listening to some doctors because I know some doctors feel much differently than the ones he's listening to.
Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, this is him all by himself,
Yeah.
and without any legislative input. I mean, there's.
Yeah, and he's politically he's not running again, right? He's
Not in the state of Arizona, unless
well, I meant for governor.
unless he thought someday U.S. Senate or something like
Yeah,
that, or
well, yeah,
I mean, governors are a great launching pad to run for presidency at some point.
yeah,
But
I'm sure he'd like to be a senator or vice president. Yeah,
but this would
this would kind of
this whole thing is turning all that stuff upside down. So
Well, we have so many governors, but particularly we have a lot of Democrats that they've turned into tyrants, right? I mean, they're just they've really gone overboard, and so that's where Ducey's kind of stretching everything by being the dictator now instead of using the legislative process. Because I don't know about you, I think I would want the legislators' input a little bit. I think even Trump gets input from some senators, and I don't think he gets much out of the House other than Kevin McCarthy and a few people, maybe the Freedom Caucus, right? But I don't know. I think I would want that input. I mean, we are the voters. We voted for people, and we expect them to represent us. Right now, we have no representation up there in the governor's office. Technically,
now, like I said, back when we were trying to get him to reopen, I got on one of the conference calls and got through the queue and and I basically told him that we need to get things open again. I said, we're losing businesses. You keep moving moving the chains as to what constitutes a first down or a touchdown on this.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it was flattening the curve and it was hospital capacity. We got that. Now it was for 2 weeks, the end of March, and you extended it for 30 days.
Yep.
That comes around, you extend it to the middle of May. I got no confidence 2 weeks from now you won't be extending it till the 1st of June.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing in your DNA right now that says anything, but we're just going to keep rolling this on for fear of somebody dying on your watch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he said it again today.
Yep.
I'm gonna err on the side of saving lives.
Yeah.
Well, you can't save everybody's life.
That's right. Yeah.
But if that is his yardstick, we're going to be in this. And will the schools open?
Yeah. Well, you know, you're saving everybody's life. What about people that are waiting for life-saving surgery and surgeries that they've had to put off? And what about?
Well, and see, those are a couple of questions that I would have been asking them.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been one. You know, once again, is the cure worse than the condition?
Yeah.
And you know, to save, you know, you've had 2,000 deaths in Arizona. Okay. To save the next 1,000, you're willing to abandon 4 million workers in the state of Arizona?
Yeah, or more.
And
yeah.
put them in, you know, what do they do? Where do they go?
Right.
You know, so, you know, the next 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 versus millions that are, you know, trying to take care of their families. It's like that argument is completely lost on them. But my question then would have been about the legislature, and why don't you call them into session, and let's have it out as an entire
Right.
government. Let's have that discussion.
Yeah.
And the question was never asked by any of these so-called expert
Journalists.
Journalists.
Yeah. Well, you and I aren't journalists, but we've come up with a couple of good ones already tonight. So yeah, I don't know. We see so many different things, Randy. We got a story where a woman, she wasn't feeling good. Her company told her to go get tested, okay? And she tested positive, and in the next 2 weeks they tested her 12 times. And that got counted as 12 different cases of the Wuhan virus, the Chinese virus, or the COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever name you want to use, right? So that got counted on the same woman 12 times, 12 different cases. So
Yeah, I gotta go on mute for just a second.
okay, go ahead. Anyway, this lady, you know, if that's the way they're counting things, if that's the way they're doing this, and they're talking about all these new cases, and then I wonder who it's still not clear to me who gets the test, and are they getting a test to see if they have the disease, or are they getting the test because evidently the CDC's been mixing up the test between the antibodies and and whether you have the disease or not. You know, have you been exposed to the disease, and is there evidence in your immune system that you have been, or, you know, do you have the disease? So, and there was a report the other day, like I said, that the CDC has mixed up those tests, and they say, oh, we're going to do better. We're going to get those separated. We're going to do better. Well, yeah, that's okay, but we can all do better all the time, right? But I don't believe these numbers. And then I see a report from the Center for Immigration Studies where all these people from Mexico, illegally and legal, are coming over the border with a disease, and they're flooding the hospitals in Arizona and Texas. So is our increase in cases because of that influx of people? And I thought the border was shut down and only essential traffic was allowed in. So how in the hell are these people getting in?
Well, if somebody comes up from the border, or somebody is sick and an ambulance shows up at the border, they're waved through to go to the hospital here.
Yeah.
They're brought to the emergency room at the nearest hospital and basically dropped off. The emergency room then, under the EMTALA laws, has to take care of these folks.
Okay.
So they bring them in, they take them to the emergency room, they admit them, and they got to take care of them until they're stabilized and can be discharged.
Yeah.
And so once they show up at the border, customs just waves an ambulance through. So if anybody from Mexico is sick and gets into an ambulance, they're in our hospital being taken care of on our dime.
So I wonder.
Now they're here because then when they're released, let's say they're there for 2 or 3 days or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
When they're released, the hospital may call Border Patrol and say, we're releasing this patient. And 9 times out of 10, Border Patrol just says, well, okay,
Whatever.
thanks.
To me, that whole thing is just our stupidity, because if you're fighting a pandemic, why in the world would you want more people coming in your borders that have the virus? Why would you expose your population to that? Aren't we under different rules now in a pandemic? I thought we were under state of emergency. So, why are they allowing, I've asked Ken Cuccinelli, who's the assistant director of the Department of Homeland Security. I've asked Mr. Wolf the same question. Why are they letting these people run across the border? And because I think we need to know, we need to find out. If we're under a state of emergency, to me, we're under a whole different set of rules, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something about all this doesn't sit very good with me and a lot of other people. And but getting back to opening the schools. So, have you talked with or had any conversations with Manny Valenzuela about Sahuarita schools?
I haven't talked to him in a while. I did reach out to Brett Bonner,
Okay, his assistant.
Yeah. Just in regards to the Sahuarita State of the Town luncheon and whether or not their ROTC program or some kids from the school band, either Walden Grove or the Sahuarita High School, whether they'd be able to, he thought they might be able to participate, providing some music and that kind of stuff. And I didn't get a whole lot of warm and fuzzy positives from them that they'd be, September 18th, that they would be available or be able to do that. And I hadn't gotten a response back from Master Sergeant King, who runs the ROTC program. I emailed him and haven't heard back from him. That brings up another issue. I did make contact with Steve White.
Oh, you did? What did you say?
I have reissued an email to him. I'd sent him just a pretty mundane email to try to get through to him. He goes, could you put all your concerns, maybe a little heavier worded email that I can forward on to my bosses to try to get them off the dime.
And the Desert Diamond attorneys.
He was talking another, maybe it could get something done by the end of next week. And in the email, I said, I need to know by Tuesday.
Yeah.
I need to know by next Tuesday. I said, I've got 2 committees, and I explained both events. And I said, right now we're at 10 weeks to the state of the town. We're at 7 weeks to the Friends dinner. And I said, state of the town, we're in limbo. We haven't been able to do what we need to be doing this week. Sending out the invitations, getting sponsors, inviting the VIPs, and start laying it out. And I said, I need an answer by next Tuesday, because we could have a meeting then too. If they say, okay, you're a go, under what conditions, we could at least start planning and getting the word out there and putting on something. But I said, otherwise our committee is going to be forced to get together and most likely just, odds are if we can't have an answer by next week, and we got to, probably cancel both events.
Yeah. So what is the date of the state of the town, Randy?
September 18th.
September 18th. Okay. So
Friday, September 18th.
So it's
a luncheon. We'll have a business showcase, 10 o'clock till 11:30. Then the luncheon goes 11:30 to 1.
And that's usually in the big conference rooms, not the theater.
It'll be in the big room. We'd use the upper level for the business showcase. Have businesses lined up. There's like a mini business expo that we do in January.
Right.
And then people could funnel into the luncheon.
One of the things I was talking about with Patty this afternoon when we got back home was, I wonder if, and I said, I wonder if Randy's thought about doing a virtual Friends of the NRA. Would that be possible?
As a matter of fact, I did broach that subject with a couple of our other committee members. It wasn't met very warmly.
What do you think about it? I mean, at least
I've done some research on fundraising events and that have been held virtually,
Yeah.
raffles and auctions and things like that.
Right.
We'd probably have to pull in an expert to pull it off that knows how to set it up properly and how to handle it and what to do with it. I'd be willing to give it a try. I mean, it's one thing to do it on a smaller event. An event our size with everything we have might be difficult to do. Every Friends of NRA committee gets what's called a standard package.
Mm-hmm.
So you start out at our cost on it is $7,000 or $8,000, and there's half a dozen, 6, 7, 8 firearms, and then there's a bunch of other NRA logoed merchandise and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
We could probably do a raffle on that standard package and sell 200 tickets at $100 a piece. Bring in 20 grand and say one winner wins the whole package. You win half a dozen guns and Winston did that earlier this year, our state field rep. Okay. He goes, I didn't know how it was going to go over. He goes, he sold, I think he said he sold 200 tickets at $100 a piece in about less than 48 hours.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So we can move our standard package items and get them off and bring in a few dollars. But other than that, I mean, we're going to have to do a bunch of refunds. The only other option was to do it without the meal. And Steve asked me today if we could do it without the meal. Safari Club International just had their event up at Lowe's Montana Canyon a couple weeks ago, and that's what they did up there.
Without a meal.
Without a meal, but most of the people that come in there, I mean, you got some high roller type things, and they'll do live auction for governor's elk hunt on the Indian reservation. They'll sell for $25,000 type thing. A guaranteed trophy type stuff.
Right.
And they did it up there with no food and basically ran. And most of the people that come into their event then stay at Montana Canyon for the weekend type thing. So they set it up and said, "Come on in, we'll run the auction or we'll run the games and all that kind of stuff from 2:00 till 5 type thing. So come on in, play some games, bid on some of the items, go lay by the pool and have a drink, and come back in and we'll draw winners at 6:30 or 7:00.
Right.
I'd almost be willing to try that. And then the money that people put in for dinner tickets, our dinner tickets were what, $70, $75 a piece type thing.
Yeah.
I'd say, what if we just gave that to anybody that wanted to attend for an event like that with no food? We could shorten it up, run it from 4 till 6:30, and then start drawing the prizes right away. Make sure, try to have the bar open at least. And then the $70 or $75 you put for your dinner ticket, we'll give you that in basically NRA dollars to use to bid on, play the games and bid on everything.
Sure.
Most people spend, I mean, the average dollar spent is like $250 or $200 a person for everybody that shows up there. So would that take care of a lot of people? Would they be satisfied with that? Probably. It would limit the number of refunds already. We had like 492 dinner tickets sold, and I've had to refund we've refunded 60 or 70 of them. So we've still got
over 400,
20 people or so waiting for an event. So if we tried to put on an event like that without the food, would they show? Would they participate? We'll still have the same merchandise, same games, do everything the same, live auction, the whole 9 yards. You just won't have a sit-down meal dinner.
Right.
So,
well, I was thinking,
I'm sure we'd lose some. We might pick up a few.
Yeah, I was thinking in the virtual, as far as the virtual idea was, I was thinking you have all those guns that you've purchased too.
Yeah.
And that might be the way to, because I don't know what you're going to do with those guns if you cancel the event. Do you just store them away somewhere?
Oh, no. We'd probably hold on to them for our event next year.
Okay, well, that's
I
what I
mean,
was
we
guessing.
probably got 140 guns.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you do.
Either that or do we start doing raffles?
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, what
Oh,
I was going to say, if you guys, if you decide that you're going to do a virtual event or something, I'd be happy to help you guys with that. And
okay.
you
Yeah,
just,
like I said, I ran that by some of the guys. I said, here's an option if we wanted to try it.
mhm,
I mean, we wouldn't get anywhere near what we normally get, but
yeah.
I mean,
Well, people like to help you though, so
could
you
it
know.
could it be had? Yeah,
Yep.
but I'm guessing that they wouldn't want to. Most of them wouldn't want to go through that or even try it. I mean,
It's not that painful.
no, I agree. Like I said, I'd be game to give it a try, but
Yeah, rather than not have anything. I don't think you ought to not do anything. I think that would be a mistake. But
well,
I
we've
know
done
it's,
everything we could. I mean, and I put
oh
pressure on
yeah,
the
no,
casino in my email that asked it. If you guys recall, you made us, we scheduled our event in March of 2019 for March 14th, 2020. We had it booked a year in advance.
right?
3 months before the event, you call us up and say we had to move it because you guys screwed up, booked it. I say
Yeah,
by the casino's request, we had to move our event,
right.
and that put us into the week where the event was canceled. So it's like you guys owe us,
Yeah,
which they do,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, he's running it by his big wigs,
Yeah.
and
Well, I know where it comes to the casinos, the attorneys really get involved with everything.
oh
So,
sure, I mean
yeah,
they're
yeah,
not going to want to have an event and then have somebody get come out of there and be in the hospital 2 weeks later and say, oh, it was the casino's fault.
right.
That is the last thing that they want on their
Of
conscience
course.
and in their courtroom.
Yeah. And on the KR, KOLD or any of the other
Yeah,
stations in town, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be
Yeah,
all over it.
guns caused the COVID-19.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got it handling an AR-15.
I
Yeah.
yeah. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. So, well, hey, it's been nice chatting with you. We didn't have a lot of people on tonight, but anyway, I think we had a pretty good chat, and appreciate your time, Randy.
Absolutely.
It's difficult times for everybody, and I know you guys in the chamber are working hard to help out these small businesses and trying to push people into getting things going. And man, I'm seeing, it's just too bad. I know there's a lot of businesses in Tucson that they've had to close the doors. They can't go on, even
Yeah,
with
like I
internet
said,
stuff.
I'm making a bunch of phone calls here over the next week, just reaching out to a lot of our members and are you going to stay with us? I mean, it's challenging for a lot
Yeah,
of members, and
I know it is.
when their dues renewal comes up, and boy,
Yeah, that's
couple hundred,
difficult.
100 here, couple hundred there, 300 there, depending on what it is.
Well, I'll leave you with good luck with Thayer, or whatever her name is, T.O. or is it T.O. or
my friend Theo.
Theo? Yeah, Theo. Good luck with her. She, what a treat, huh? We'll hope to. And by the way, Frank
Yeah.
Frank is doing well. He's home, and the
Is
surgery
he?
went well, and he's into a 6-week recovery now. So anyway, yeah, we got a little text from
Yeah,
him.
I haven't called him yet. I need to call him once again and have that conversation with him
Yeah,
about,
give him a call.
so the doctors found a heart, huh?
Yeah,
I want proof.
he'll love that.
I got-
Anyway, we'll
gotta give him a
see you in the next few days. And
Well,
again,
I appreciate that.
if you want to do something virtual, let me know. And
Well, yeah, well, like I said, by next week, middle of next week, we've got to have by the end of next week for sure, we've got to have our committee get together and say, we're either doing it or we're not, and make the decision, because we can't,
yeah,
I mean, you just can't extend this forever.
and
There's just too much work to do.
I'll pass on the word to Patty she'll be anxious to hear what's up. So I'll tell them it's Tuesday or bust.
That's the time frame I give them. Now, can they meet that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They have to. Well, they got Friday and Monday. I don't think they probably work over the weekend, right?
Well, I needed to put fire under them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, they'd drag it out for, so,
Yeah.
so
Okay, sir. You take care, and it's good seeing you.
plan on it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, everybody. Here we are back, and I'm going to end this meeting now. Thanks everybody for joining. Interesting times we're in, folks. I hope that you can still hear me now. I don't have my video on right now, so I really hope that we get things going here. We get the schools open. We get things going. But it seems like our leaders are just reluctant to. They're reluctant to do what they need to do, and I'm not sure. Just not sure what how we're going to solve that problem. So I hope you guys. I really hope you guys and everybody on the show tonight. We want to. I'm going to turn my camera on here so you folks can see me. Okay, so I got my camera on now, and hello. I got my green screen behind me, and the effects are not working right now, so that's kind of interesting. Anyway, it was great talking to Randy. A lot of good information and talking about different things going on locally, which so we'll get this up on YouTube and everybody can watch, and I will plan another meeting for next week. Maybe YouTube, and maybe we'll Zoom again. We'll see. But coming up on the 14th, Tuesday night, there's a go-to meeting with Martha McSally at the Continental Plaza in Conference Room 203. Be there at 4:30. You get free ice cream and cake, and we hope you can join the Republican Club of Green Valley Sahuarita for that. And we'll see you then. Good night, everybody.